September 10th, 2001, he started his new job with a company called Kroll Associates as head of security at the World Trade Center. A day later, he was dead, a victim of the September 11th terrorist attacks.
The World Trade Center.
Come on! The FBI's top counterterrorism expert, who after chasing bin Laden for 6 years just happened to take a job in the private sector. He's murdered in an internationally televised terrorist attack, blamed on his arch nemesis.
Killed by his arch nemesis. How ironic.
Coincidence? Why did O'Neill start working at the World Trade Center?
Jerome Hauer
Everybody
was
having
the
to
guy
do
who
with Kroll
got
Associates.
John O'Neill his
Take
job
him to
at the
Kroll
World Trade
Associates and
Center.
you'll know everything.
Did you recruit John O'Neill into Kroll? No. Who did? He didn't work for Kroll. Who did he work for? He worked for the FBI and then went to work for Larry Silverstein. But I thought Kroll had the contract to do security at the World Trade Center, and I thought John O'Neill's first day at the job was on 9/11. Silverstein had his own security company? How did this work? No, Silverstein had his own people that worked on security. He had a whole security staff there. Okay.
Kroll Associates is a global securities and intelligence firm. Publicly traded and privately managed, Kroll specializes in large building security and industrial espionage. In 1993, Kroll got a contract to manage security at the World Trade Center. They held that position up until the moment the towers fell. Jerome Hauer, the go-to guy for bioterrorism. In an investigation of 9/11, Hauer's name comes up more than anybody else's. As a managing director of Kroll in New York City, Hauer was responsible for doing security at the World Trade Center. Jerome Hauer is also the guy that got John O'Neill his job as head of security at the World Trade Center. Just prior to this, Jerome Hauer was Rudy Giuliani's right-hand man in New York, where he headed up the Office of Emergency Management, OEM, FEMA, in New York City. It was by Jerome Hauer's suggestion that Mayor Giuliani constructed what became known as the Federal Bunker Offices in World Trade Center Building Number 7. Fireproof, bomb-proof, bulletproof, these OEM offices were basically Giuliani's headquarters in New York City. He is a well-known advisor to the Council on Foreign Relations, formerly worked for the National Institute of Health, and is currently the head of the Office of Public Health Preparedness. A managing director there has said, quote, Kroll is like a private CIA.
Jerome Hauer, who like L. Paul Bremer, survived the 9/11 attacks by going on national television to give us the first accounts of the official story. Before anyone knew it was happening, these guys apparently had it all figured out.
Based on what you know, and I recognize we're dealing with so few facts, is it possible that just a plane crash could have collapsed these buildings, or would it have required the sort of prior positioning of other explosives in the building? What do you think?
No, my sense is that just the velocity of the plane and the fact that you have a plane filled with fuel hitting that building that burned, the velocity of the plane certainly had an impact on the structure itself. And then the fact that it burned and you had that intense heat probably weakened the structure as well. And I think it was simply the planes hitting the buildings and causing the collapse.
Did you ever imagine in your various scenarios that a building, not to mention two separate buildings basically in case of the trade towers, would collapse on one another?
We did plan for building collapse, for bombings, and that was part of our routine planning.
Those who controlled security at the World Trade Center are prime suspects in the demolition of the Twin Towers. The first plane struck directly into the computer room of Marsh, or Kroll, USA, in the North Tower. Or rather, it was precision guided on 9/11.